Have you ever been absolutely certain of a memory, only to discover it never happened the way you recall? Maybe you vividly remember a childhood book title spelled differently, or an iconic movie line spoken another way. Yet when you check, history refuses to cooperate. This phenomenon has a name: the Mandela Effect. Entire groups of people recall the same false memory with such conviction and clarity that it feels as though an alternate reality has leaked into our own. But what if this isn't simply about faulty memory? What if the Mandela Effect points to something deeper, about the structure of consciousness, or even the architecture of the universe itself? To investigate, we must turn first to one of the most sophisticated spiritual systems of the ancient world: Egyptian metaphysics. For the Egyptians, a human being was not a single essence, but a constellation of parts, one of the most mysterious being the Ka, the vital double that could exist independently of the body. And when we compare this to modern thought, where physics speculates on multiverses and psychology examines the reconstructive nature of memory, we find startling resonances. Today, we ask, how did the Egyptians conceive of the Ka as a parallel self? What do physics and psychology suggest about memory glitches and branching realities? And could the Mandela Effect be less of a mistake and more of a glimpse into how consciousness interacts with multiple layers of reality? Let's begin. Welcome to the Emerald Codex. If you want more deep investigations into ancient wisdom and hidden knowledge, subscribe. Thanks for supporting this work. To explore this overlap between ancient metaphysics and modern science, we'll focus on two perspectives. First, the Egyptians of the New Kingdom period, roughly 1500 Fant, 1070 BCE, who developed one of the most elaborate models of the soul in human history. The Ka was a central component of this system, representing vitality, spiritual twinship, and continuity across death and life. Scholars reconstruct this concept from funerary texts such as the pyramid texts, coffin texts, temple inscriptions, and the famous Book of the Dead. Our complementary perspective will draw from modern physics and psychology together. On one hand, multiverse theories in cosmology suggest that countless parallel realities may exist, branching at every quantum decision. On the other hand, psychology and neuroscience reveal how memory is not a recording, but a reconstruction, shaped by suggestion, influence, and group dynamics. Together, these perspectives force a profound question. Could the Mandela Effect be evidence of consciousness bridging alternate versions of reality? Or is it the mind itself creating multiverses within? This episode will not collapse one view into the other. Instead, we'll hold them side by side, as distinct yet resonant ways of grappling with the same mystery. How many realities do we truly inhabit? In ancient Egypt, the human being was not a singular soul, but a composite of multiple elements: the Ka, Ba, Aka, Ren, Shayut, and the physical body. Among these, the Ka was one of the most essential. Emerging in Old Kingdom texts, the Ka was often depicted as a twin figure, representing vitality, the animating life force, bestowed at birth by divine powers. Unlike the Bai, which traveled between realms, the Ka remained tied to continuity. Funerary practices revolved around sustaining it. Offerings of food and drink were left in tomb chapels, while rituals and spells ensured its survival. This was not abstract philosophy, but lived metaphysics, shaping art, ritual, and power. Through the Ka, Egyptians confronted the profound possibility that identity was already plural, layered across dimensions. What the Egyptians recognized was that human identity was fundamentally multiple. The Ka was not a shadow or ghost, but a vital twin that accompanied the individual through life and death. It bore memory, individuality, and character, but was not confined to the body. After death, the Ka could persist, sustained through offerings and rituals, inhabiting the tomb and engaging with the living. In inscriptions, it was sometimes described as an energetic blueprint, a pattern that endured beyond physical change. Unlike later dualisms of soul and body, this was not separation, but multiplicity. The Ka suggested that consciousness operated in parallel domains, layered, overlapping, and enduring. In this sense, the Egyptians anticipated something astonishing: that each of us may already exist in more than one reality, with the Ka as a bridge. How did Egyptians practice this recognition? Funerary architecture reveals part of the answer. Tombs were not graves, but residences for the Ka. Offering chapels contained false doors for the Ka to pass through, while daily rituals brought food, drink, and incense. Priests recited spells from the coffin texts, guiding the Ka through afterlife terrain. Relatives nourished it with offerings, sustaining continuity between worlds. Pharaohs were said to hold multiple Kas, embodying accumulations of divine powers. Ceremonies invoking the Ka of the king legitimized royal authority. On a personal level, individuals commissioned K statues as vessels for their doubles, allowing offerings to reach them eternally. Through such practices, Egyptians built a living interface with parallel existence, ensuring continuity across thresholds. The Ka shaped every level of Egyptian culture. In art, figures were doubled, expressing metaphysical twinship. In ethics, deeds in life determined the Ka's fate after death. Communities were bound together through offerings for ancestral Kas, weaving memory into ritual practice. Festivals for the dead mobilized entire populations to nourish and honor the doubles of rulers and commoners alike. The Ka was not merely personal, but collective, linking society across visible and invisible worlds. It embedded the conviction that life unfolded across multiple dimensions, a recognition surprisingly close to modern questions of parallel reality. For modern seekers, the Ka offers both metaphor and challenge. In an age when neuroscience shows memory as reconstructive and physics proposes branching universes, the Egyptian vision of a vital double feels strikingly relevant. Practices like commissioning Ka statues echo in modern memorials, photographs, and even digital avatars, objects we imbue with presence beyond physical absence. More profoundly, the Ka invites us to ask, what if the self is not singular, but layered? Could the Mandela Effect be traces of K consciousness crossing realities? While science often explains false memory as error, the Egyptian lens whispers a different possibility. Perhaps our doubles leave traces across domains. Either way, the Ka endures as a reminder that identity is more fluid than we imagine. Modern inquiry into false collective memory comes from two fields often seen as opposites: physics and psychology. Physics, through cosmology and quantum theory, imagines universes branching endlessly, every possibility unfolding in its own timeline. Psychology, through studies of memory, reveals that our inner worlds fracture and rebuild constantly, so that we live in overlapping mental realities. When millions of people remember the same event incorrectly, physics-minded thinkers wonder if we've glimpsed alternate timelines, while psychologists point to the reconstructive nature of memory. Taken together, they suggest that the Mandela Effect might be more than error. It could be the interface between multiverses of cosmos and multiverses of mind. Physics explores multiplicity through mathematics, probability, and experiment. The many-worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics suggests that every quantum event spawns divergent universes, creating endless doubles of ourselves. Psychology, meanwhile, studies how memory distorts, reconstructs, and spreads across groups. Experiments show how false details, once introduced, quickly stabilize into shared recollection. Where Egyptians built chapels for the Kai, physicists build quantum models of probability waves. Where Egyptians sustained doubles through offerings, psychologists observe doubles of memory forming within social networks. Both disciplines point to a strange truth. Reality is not singular. In physics, countless versions of you branch outward. In psychology, countless versions of you live in the stories you and others remember. In this convergence, the Mandela Effect becomes both external and internal, a phenomenon where universes of probability and universes of recollection collide. When placed beside Egyptian metaphysics, the hybrid of physics and psychology reveals a universal pattern. Identity and reality are always plural. Egyptians described it through the Ka, the vital twin sustained beyond death. Physics frames it as branching universes. Psychology demonstrates it through the multiplicity of memory, where each recall is a reconstruction. All three converge on the same intuition, that the self and the world are layered tapestries rather than singular threads. False collective memories, then, may not be failures, but symptoms of this multiplicity, surfacing into shared awareness. The Mandela Effect becomes a cultural reminder of what Egyptians encoded in ritual and what physicists and psychologists now uncover in theory and experiment. The self is many, and reality is more than one. For contemporary explorers, the union of physics and psychology suggests that the multiverse is not only out there in cosmic branching, but also in here in the mind's reconstructions. The Egyptian Ka offered rituals for coherence. Today, science offers models and experiments. Both insist that multiplicity is unavoidable. The question becomes, how do we navigate it? The Mandela Effect may be an invitation to practice awareness, not of error, but of plurality, whether in the cosmos or in our own minds. Stepping back, what emerges is not conflict, but dialogue. Egyptians intuited through the Ka that human identity is already doubled, already layered. Modern physics models universes branching endlessly, while psychology shows memory as a multiverse of its own. Together, they converge on an invisible architecture. Reality as correspondence, where microcosmic memory echoes macrocosmic branching. Rhythm is present too, cycles of remembering and forgetting, continuity and rupture. Underneath it all lies consciousness as active participant, not passive observer, shaping which thread of reality we inhabit. In practice, this synthesis invites us to see memory anomalies not as mistakes, but as doorways. Instead of dismissing the Mandela Effect, we can ask, how does my mind construct continuity? What doubles of myself act in unseen layers? Journaling memories, revisiting them over time, or exploring dreams can reveal identity's fluidity. Meanwhile, following advances in quantum computing or cognitive psychology shows how the edges of knowledge bend under multiplicity. The key is honoring both perspectives without forcing them into one. Egyptians were not proto-physicists. Their insights arose from ritual and myth. Physics is not spirituality. It is mathematics and probability. Yet both circle the same mystery. Reality may be only one thread in a wider tapestry. The Mandela Effect, strange and unsettling, becomes a case study of this intuition. Whole groups share a memory never recorded in this universe. Is that error or multiplicity? As explorers of consciousness, we need not resolve it. We can hold it as Egyptians did with their Ka, and as scientists do with their models, as a reminder that truth is layered, provisional, and alive. By moving gracefully between perspectives, we strengthen our ability to live in mystery without rushing to closure. Perhaps this is the deeper invitation of the Mandela Effect, to live as if reality is already more than one, and to cultivate practices, scientific or spiritual, that help us orient within its shifting horizons. So, what do you think? If whole groups vividly remember events that never happened, are we seeing cracks in reality or echoes of parallel selves? Does the Egyptian Ka suggest that each of us already carries a double fortuitios, shaping our continuity? Do physics and psychology imply that we are constantly branching, multiplying into countless versions of ourselves? Which resonates more with you, the ritual continuity of the Ka, or the elegant mathematics of the multiverse, or the reconstructive power of memory? Or are they fragments of a larger truth about how consciousness navigates existence? And finally, what might it mean for your own life if memory is not fixed, but fluid across realities? If the self you think you are is only one strand in a greater web. Egyptians sustained their doubles with ritual. Scientists sustain their models with experiments. How will you sustain your own continuity, knowing that reality itself may be more layered than it seems? The Mandela Effect may not be solved here, but it opens a doorway to reimagine memory, identity, and reality itself. The real question is, how will you step through it? Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe for more.